Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the stream. Tonight we're going to have a fun one. I'm sitting back, relaxing, drinking some whiskey. And today I got a fun Twitter DM from a friend of mine that I met at Artifact Conf. Jimena um, messaged me, and she was looking around my Thinking with Grid repository and offered a little bit of a challenge to see if I could kind of re-implement the layout that Jen Simmons did at Artifact Conf in a slightly different way. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Um, so she sent me this message, and let me just show you a little bit about Artifact Conf. This was a couple weeks ago. It was a front-end web development conference here in Austin, and specifically, we were talking about this talk by Jen Simmons, Thinking with Grid, where she got a design handed to her like 2 minutes before she got on stage, and she implemented it live in front of all of us. And it was really crazy. You know, people were shouting out suggestions and stuff, but I took the same design back home and in the darkness of my own office, implemented it myself and came up with something like this. So one of the things that I did to accomplish this was I used Translate. And as you can see, it's very responsive. So one of the things I did was I used Translate. And let me kind of show you. So you can tell that in this left-hand grid column, Thinking with Grid is just shifted over. And in her message, she kind of says, that's cheating. She didn't say it directly, but she's like, hey, that's cheating. You know, you use Translate instead of Grid. And so she makes a good point. So I'm going to take on the challenge and try to re-implement this a little bit using essentially only Grid for layout. No transforms, and see if I can get it done. And I've never done something like this. Oh, and first off, I should say thank you, Jimena, for the challenge. I'm up for it. I've never done something like this, but you know, honestly, the first thing that I always see people do when they start with grid layouts is do this interesting like, ooh, I'm gonna take a snippet of the window and then just start like marking grid lines on it. So I'm gonna do the same thing. Throw it into Figma. And see what all the hype is about there. And I think the goal with all this is to just understand where every line that you need to pay attention to comes into play. So let's see, I think we're just going to get, it's the pen tool. Oh, I don't need that. We probably need the pencil tool. How do you draw straight lines in this bitch? Aha. Okay, cool. So let's draw some grid lines. So we know we're essentially going to have a grid line here. Doink. All the way across. And we know we're going to have a line like here. Man, drawing lines is hard, you guys. Okay, we'll copy that line, paste it over. So we're gonna have a line there, we're gonna have a line there. We're gonna have a line like there. Another one like there. And do the same thing for the horizontal lines. We're gonna kind of have one here. One here. One here. So let's start with this. And what this does is it kind of tells us like where things need to fit on the grid. It helps you give a visual. So I'm going to try to do this piece first. And the first thing I'm going to do is open up the CSS tricks page, the grid guide. I'm going to paste that in chat. Super helpful, because I always go back to this. And what I'm specifically looking at, yeah, and Jen Simmons kind of did this on stage. It's like start defining like grid column start and row start and row end. And I think there's a shorthand for that too. Items can overlap each other. You can use ZNX to control their stacking. Perfect, because that's what we have here, some overlapping items. Yeah, okay, so let's do this. We'll get some text in here too. We'll label all the lines. Let's increase it. 12 is ridiculous. We'll go 48. There we go. So there's 1. That'll be 2. 3. And 4. And same thing for the horizontals. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And let's see if we can just get this going here. So we're going to hop on into VS Code. And what's the first thing we need to do? Let's take our translate off of there. Because like she said, that's cheating. And honestly, right now, let's just get rid of this entire aside thing. Okay, cool. So we'll inspect this. We're looking good here. So we're kind of like starting back from nothing. So we have the summary and the image. Now let's start setting up our grid lines. We know we're going to have like grid template columns, 1, 2, 3 columns on the main grid. So we'll just say auto, auto, auto. Actually, 1FR, 1FR, 1FR. And grid template rows. Again, we have 1, 2, 3 rows. Let's get rid of grid template areas because I don't think you can overlap grid template areas. If I were to define an area, right? Do you see how this area for the image would overlap the area for the summary? And I'm not actually sure how to handle that. Let's see, overlapping areas. Let's see. You can't have Tetris-shaped grid areas. Really? Why not? Oh, okay. Named grid areas and grid line numbers are two ways of placing content grid. Oh, interesting. So under the hood, grid areas actually name the lines. That's cool. So this area main defined by two grid areas actually just names the lines main start and main end. So, oh, interesting. How is this happening? CSS. Header, main, sidebar. Oh, so what's happening here? Grid item 5. What's happening with that? It's going sidebar start. Oh, interesting. Okay. Okay. That's a pretty cool article. So let's see. We're going to have the image. We need to place the image. So grid column, I believe it's called. So start line and end line. So this is going to start at line 2 and go to line 4. This is for the image. Let's do the image first. Place that on the grid. And I suppose we need to give it some rows too. So it'll go from line 1 to line 4. Oh, and I think they're separated with a slash. No, huh? Man, I don't know what's happening here. Let's try to go back and read the guide. Okay, I don't really care about the lines. Yes, Firefox Grid Inspector is pretty dope. I actually don't even think I have Firefox installed. Also, thanks for joining. Let's look at the syntax one more time. Start line / end line. Okay. So here's my main. I have defined grid template columns and grid template rows. This is the main grid. Perfect. Let's make this super explicit. Yes. It's a 3x3 grid. Perfect. Okay. Yeah, she's right. It might help to do Firefox. Oh, look, I have Firefox installed. Sick. Let's say let's open it up in Explorer and then open it in Firefox. Sweet. Okay. Holy shit. Why do I have 6? Why do I have 6 grid line numbers? So the main grid right there. Ooh, that's rough. So something is not right. Okay, so for some reason, fractional is not doing very well. Let's go back here and just switch it to something completely static. So 100 pixels a piece. Same thing here. Okay, now still for some reason I'm getting freaking 6 lines over here. For some reason. But maybe it's about the position of the summary. Because grid area summary doesn't exist. So I'll have to say grid columns and grid rows. And where does that need to be? I just closed Figma. And who knows my password? Let's open Chrome. Okay, so the summary. Where does it need to go? columns, it's going to go from 1 to 3. And rows, 2 to 3. You guys, my brain is fried. I'm putting commas after CSS values. Okay, sweet. That is better. Okay, great. So this is looking better. Can I set these to auto and have this work? Because obviously hard coding that is not the way to go. Yeah, okay, there we go. Now we're getting somewhere. Okay, so we need to move the Z index of the summary. You know, I wonder, I bet you there's probably like a really cool tool somewhere, like Firefox Z index, I don't know, like viewer or something. Yeah, I don't know, whatever. So yeah, we can put the summary Z index at 1, and I think we're okay. I don't even know what the initial Z index property is. That's fine. We'll just move the summary up. Or maybe we do the image back. Oh man, that didn't work. Okay. Let's just be a little explicit then. Okay, here we go. Hey, what's up, Max? Yes, I totally know I can use a translate. That is exactly what Jimena is challenging me not to use. So this whole kind of situation should now be done only with essentially grid lines. But good call out. That was exactly how I implemented it the first time. Okay, so now what we need to do is just start adjusting some grids. Oh, actually, we need to put our little guy in back here. So maybe we actually add in some more lines. So that'll be 4. This will be 5. And that'll be 6. So now all we're doing is really nothing changes except for the image. I'm doing pretty good. Really, nothing changes except for the image, except for it stretches to line 5. And this isn't 3. This is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Head back to Firefox. Okay. And so now we're going to place this. Oh, we need to make more vertical lines too. Look at that. So basically the start and the end of this guy. Four and 5. What kind of fun stuff are you guys working on right now? Jimena, I see you were trying to implement this as well. 5, 6, 4, 5, 6. Let's just revisit. So I redefined this with 5. So this needs to span between still just 2 and 3 and 1 and 3. For the summary, 2 and 3 and 1 and 3. The image now needs to span from 1 to 5 rows, and columns 2 to 6. Okay, sweet. And I don't like how these lines are extending. How did I get to the grid inspector properties? Shit, I don't know. Where was it? Where was it? Where was it? Ah, there we go. Don't extend lines indefinitely. Okay, cool. So now let's replace the image name. The image name is going to go column-wise from 4 to 5. And I think I called it, yeah, the aside. We'll get rid of the translate Y, because that's where I was kind of cheating there. And we'll do grid column of 4 to 5. And what's the grid row? 4 to 6. And that's not working well at all, because I still have a grid area defined on it. That's part of the problem. Oh, and I have the HTML commented out. Just learning JavaScript. Man, that's challenging. Do yourself a favor and don't jump into a framework like I did. That was a mistake. What kind of resources are you using? Max suggests Code War. Free Code Camp is good, yeah. And Westboss's 30 Days of JavaScript. Also a great free course. Just teaches you how to put stuff on a page. Hey, okay, there we go. Oh god, this grid inspector is so good. Okay, something's going wrong here. All right, night, Max. Then you have smart friends or people who, you know, made the mistake already. Yep. Okay, what the crap is going on? The side is right there. It's going from grid column 4 to 5. I'm not even really seeing a 4 and 5 over here. The last thing I got is, oh, row 5, column 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. I'm not getting enough columns, but I'm supposedly defining 5 columns. The image should be spanning that. Yeah. 2 to 6 and 1 to 5. So how come it doesn't look? How come it doesn't look like it's getting there? 2, 3. Oh, column 4 to 6. Column 4 to 5, row 4 to 6. No, that's exactly what I have. And let's get rid of the translate X. Okay, so this is now super weird. I've got 5 columns, 5 rows, but only 4 columns. Oh, okay. Think. Grid column 4 to 5. That should be exactly right. And grid row 4 to 6. Grid column 4 to 5. Grid row 4 to 6. And my issue is Yeah, probably because everything is auto right now. Okay, so everything lines up where it needs to. One, two, three, four, five, six. Yeah, so now it's just time to set some actual widths on things. Okay, so let's hop back to that awesome CSS tricks article, and I think there's that property min max. That's it. It just mentions it down here in a little thing. But you also have keywords like min content, max content, auto, and perhaps fractional units. For example, to set a column to be one fractional unit, but shrink to no further than 200 pixels. So this literally means this is the minimum value and that's the maximum value. Okay. So let's try this min-max thing here. How wide is this right now? 200? That kind of sucks. I want it a little bit wider, I feel like. So on the summary, see, yeah, and how do we even do that? Because right now I want to set like a minimum width that spans two columns. Interesting. So let's set a min max on 5 auto. Yeah, let's break this out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And start changing the ones we need. Represents the largest min content contribution. Yeah, I have no idea what that means, but let's. Whoa. That's not right. Okay, that's kind of cool. Yeah, the image is just going to be 100%. That's fine. So what if this was like min max auto or 200 pixels? And then we did the same thing for the next one. So it's like just make it auto, except if it starts to get too small, hold it at 200 pixels. Yeah, that. I don't know about that. Maybe MDN has a better description. Okay, so it has to be greater than or equal to min and less than or equal to max. Oh. Let's say it has to be between 200 and 500. That's kind of cool. So it'll shrink to, there you go, 200. And I think we can get away with more. And grow to 500? It's not stopping. Oh, there, it stopped. 500 is too big. But I think we're getting closer. So let's say 300 is the biggest they can go. And let's say maybe 100 is the smallest they can go. So let's see. Let's screw with it. Ugh. Yeah, that 100 is too small. This is getting fancy, though. Let's say it's got to be between 300 and 200. Yeah, I mean, obviously at the bottom it looks a little dumb. Yeah. Okay. We getting there. I think I could decrease this a bit, like 150. Feels like I'm hard coding this though, and I don't like that. And I have no idea what's happening with the image. I mean, I feel like there has to be a hard break point here where it's just like, I give up. You know, like, just put thinking with grid on top or something. You know what I mean? And I almost want to make thinking with grid. Like, what if it spanned, instead of being from 2 to 3, what if it was like, I wish there was a way to align this center. Right? Like, and just go from 1 to 5 and then align it center. Right? Because right now, as you go down, you'll see Think with Grid starts, I feel like it's drifting to the top a little bit. It's main summary. Show me the grid inspector. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, and another thing that's happening is like the image isn't doing the background cover situation or the the object fit cover. It's staying at a fixed width. So cover would really help here. The fact that you can do this now on non-background images is awesome. I always forget. Yeah, object fit, I think it is. Cover. Yeah. Yeah, so get rid of the width and do an object fit cover. And then I think the image will scale better. Wow, that changed everything. Why? Now it's going off the page? What? Okay, the body's only 1038. But this main grid is bigger than that. Oh, really? Jimenez says I might still need the width with the object fit. She's exactly right. Look at that. So you can't see the right half of my screen right now, but it's coming down nicely, coming down nicely, coming down nicely. Yeah, and then it just went. Yeah, something's still not right here. Because I've got a margin on this thing that should be respected. But it looks like the margin is just like, nah, I don't think so. Yeah, watch as they get bigger, bigger, bigger. It's like, nope, don't care. I mean, maybe you know what you do is you min max this a little bit and say that, you know, this image thing can't get bigger than a certain piece of the screen real estate. Margin disappeared as well, yeah. Yeah, because with width 100%, object fit cover, as you grow this, I mean, what if we just put a max height on this main grid? What if we said the max height was like 80 VH or something, right? Like that's as big as you can get. And at some point you feel like it would stop growing, except for it doesn't. What if we did, is that actually overflowing? What if we did like an overflow hidden? Okay. Yeah, I was trying to cap height, and that does not seem to be working very well. So overflow hidden is definitely what's needed on the image. Let me see if I can get rid of that width now with the object fit cover. No. Okay. So you still need the width on the image, definitely. And I think you do need, what was I just doing? Oh, overflow hidden on the main grid. 70 V width. Is that for the image, you mean? Oh, but see, now it's hiding. It's hiding the bottom of this. Uh. Let's see. What about contain? The replaced content is scaled to maintain its aspect ratio while fitting within cover. It's sized to maintain its aspect ratio while filling the element's entire content box. If the object's aspect ratio does not match the ratio of the box, then it will be clipped to fit. That seems like it's not working. Okay, so this whole overflow hidden thing's got to go. Width on the image. And this is all because all of these grid cells are auto. And what really sucks is that when you rotate something, its box doesn't take up that space. So let's see, how does this actually look in comparison to what I had? It was what? Thinking with grid. It's bigger, that's for sure. I suppose we could just do auto on everything and set like max widths and stuff, right? Right? Tell me I'm right. So what if I just did auto on everything? And for the text, I was just like, hey, guess what? You can only be, I don't know, 500 pixels wide, and your min width, you can crush down to 200 pixels wide, right? And then we can leave the entire grid auto. Maybe. So how wide is that? Let's pop this out. It's 300. Why is it 300? Oh, because I didn't reload it? Smart, Brad. Real smart. Yeah, okay, so it's kind of nice. Like, you tell it, this is how big you can get. Between 300 and 500. How big is this one? 368. So I'll let it go 375 at its top. And you can go 300 min. So if it gets really big, that's as big as it's going to get. If it goes really small, that's as small as it's going to get. I'm cool with that. And then I like the idea of setting a viewport width on the image, because that way you're not dependent on, the width of the grid or whatever, because the grid's all sized auto. Yeah, so let's see. I had the repo up somewhere. Where I had the picture. Yeah, I'm looking at this going like, do you set the size of the image or do you set the size of the entire container thing? Because if the image is always like 70 VW, it's just not going to care about the margin. And it's like, I'm going to be 70 VW no matter what. Yeah, it looks good though. It still doesn't care about the margin. And now it's getting real weird. I think the image kind of has to be 100% of the container. No, well, not 100% of the container. I don't know. We're getting funky right now. What's the deal with all this space in this grid? See, there's room around the image. Yeah, why? Yeah, I set the margin kind of particularly. Now look, this image isn't actually filling the grid. This is what's bugging me. Look at the size of this thing. It's supposed to go between 2 and 6. Let's take the width off. Okay, there we go. Now it goes between 2 and 6. That's what it needs. 100% width. And then what is controlling the actual width of this grid? I mean, nothing really. So what if we took this whole entire thing we're going to bring this back to 100% here. So what if we took this whole entire thing? I think auto is the way to go. And just said, hey, this whole entire grid thing can't ever be bigger than like, you know, like you said, maybe like 70 VW. So this would be main. And what if we just like got rid of the margin and we just, I cheated, you know, I did like grid up here in the body. What if we just align content and justify content center? Yeah. Yeah, dude, that works. You just set like a max width and a max height on it. So main can, let's say, never be bigger than, I don't know, 80 VW, and can't be taller than 80 VH. So you're just kind of constraining it inside. Except for when it does this. Max height 80 VH. Yeah, still kind of breaking here. It's going over the height for some reason. And yet when I take off the max height, that's working better. It stops growing. That makes no sense to me. I've got a max height on this thing now, and it's growing for some reason. The max height is 80 VH. Yet it's growing. I'll take the max height off, I guess. Don't know why it's doing that. But then I think now we're looking at something better here. So it's still going to crush down funny. That's fine. I can deal with that in a different video. But as it grows, yeah, for some reason, yeah, now it's going to quit. And, you know, just for safekeeping, we can give it some margin. I don't know, of like 20 pixels. So that as it gets bigger, we're not going to accidentally... Oh, of course, now it's not respecting margin. No, refresh the page. Yeah, it's not respecting margin. Oh, or maybe it is. Yeah, that's okay. I'm pretty happy with this, and I think I'll leave it here. Hey, Jimena, thank you for the challenge. It was pretty good, and I appreciate you joining as I went through this. So we came out the other side with a grid-based layout for this. I defined some grid template columns, So just 5 columns and 5 rows, all automatically sized. And then what I did was I placed each item into the grid based on their line numbers. So you could see, this was like from this vertical line. Oh, show my picture. So I placed this summary from this vertical line over to this vertical line, placed my little photo credit, based off 2 horizontal lines, and then using that and having the grid automatically scale and setting, some upper boundaries on some things, using min max for the summary and max width for the overall layout, right? I said max width is 80 VWs. So it's just not going to get bigger than that percentage of the window. I was able to kind of contain the layout and make something that kind of works. Of course, this gets super wonky on mobile because this print layout just does not work very well there. At that point, I would just break it up and stick the image above the summary, like completely. Just make it a single column situation. Yeah, so again, Jimena, thanks for joining. She says, of course, happy you took on the challenge so quickly. Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't back down. All right. Well, thanks all for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.